linksaf slaan naar Bognop Road. Over 700 meter. Op de rotonde sla linksaf naar B4156 Bognop Road. Op de rotonde sla linksaf naar B4156 Bognop Road. Over 1 kilometer. Op de rotonde sla linksaf naar A462 Bursnips Road.
Police message in a bottle. Mike in Birch's head says, well said, Kevin in Wetby Rocks, right on the nose.
Over 500 meter. Op de rotonde sla linksaf.
Good morning, Stuart. With regard to the Lancaster case starting, I read.
Verlaag de snelheid verderop. Op de rotonde sla linksaf naar A462 Bursnips Road.
He lacks charisma, probably. You sort of compare it to the previous PM, Boris Johnson.
Over 2 kilometer. Op de rotonde ga rechtdoor.
Like him or not, he was incredibly charismatic and entertaining. With regard to accusations of flip-flopping, in inverted commas, surely if you consider yourself to be a critical thinker, then changing your mind on issues is, is important. I'd much rather somebody have the ability to change their mind on the presentation of evidence that proves that their view is incorrect, than somebody who would stick to their guns without considering the facts. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Rich with a WhatsApp voice note. To do that, it's dead easy. Send a message with the word Stoke to 0800321 and record your voice note and everyone will come through here. What do you think of what Rich was saying? 0800 121 8080 if you want to get in touch this morning. On the roads, it's not too bad actually, through Staffordshire and Cheshire. Traffic moving well on the main route. Still got the closure of the A520 between Stella Headlights and between Endon and Stockton Brook, and also Sneed Green towards Norton Heights. A couple of sets of roadworks there causing delays. Any other problems you see? 0800 121 8080.
The BBC Sounds app on your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio Stoke.
And on your radio.
The sound of where we live is
BBC Radio Stoke.
At 11 with the latest for Staffordshire and Cheshire, I'm Jodie Looker. The Prime Minister has told members of his cabinet that he will not stand down, despite more than 70 Labour MPs publicly calling for his resignation. Earlier, Miata Fahnbulleh became the first government minister to resign, calling for Sir Keir Starmer to set a timetable for his departure. It was the first cabinet meeting to be held since Labour's poor election results in Scotland, Wales and parts of England last week. Our chief political correspondent, Henry Zeffman, says Sir Keir delivered a tough message at the start of the meeting.
That is Keir Starmer saying to the Cabinet, and then through us, to Labour MPs, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. He is saying we don't have a situation of no confidence letters. He's saying if you want to get rid of me, 81 of you need to back an alternative candidate, and they will have to fight me with the Labour Party membership.
The family of a woman who died in a collision in South Cheshire
Op de rotonde neemt de derde afslag naar M6 towards the northwest.
20-year-old Armani Jessica Rose Walton from Chell died in the crash, which happened on the A34 near Congleton on Friday the 1st of May at 5 to 10 at night. The black Audi Armani was in left the road near Little Morton Hall and collided with a silver Range Rover. Her family say she was a devoted daughter, sister, granddaughter and girlfriend who worked hard, cared endlessly and loved fiercely. Cheshire Police are urging anyone who saw the collision to get in touch. Police are appealing for witnesses following a fire at a bin store in Hanley. Crews are called to Glebe Street at 8:10 on Saturday morning. The wooden store was well alight. There are no reports of any injuries and the investigation into the cause of the fire is ongoing. The family of a Stoke-on-Trent teenager who had a rare heart condition say they're overwhelmed by the lovely messages following his death. 19-year-old Will Simpson from Western Coyney passed away over the bank holiday weekend. Will had a heart transplant in 2023 and went on to raise thousands of pounds to give back to those who'd cared for him. Chris, Will's dad, says the memories have given them strength.
We're expecting him to come bounding in at any time, like and ask for some tea or something like that, or just make a mess like he normally did. But that's how it is. But
trail of destruction behind it,
definitely,
didn't he?
the positivity from his fellow work friends, we can't help but laugh, even though we probably really don't want to laugh. It's been a source of comfort.
And a bar of Cadbury's chocolate issued to a soldier during the Second Boer War 126 years ago is expected to fetch hundreds of pounds at auction. Chocolatiers across the British Empire were commissioned by Queen Victoria to produce tins of chocolate for soldiers fighting in South Africa between 1899 and 1902. A look at the weather for Staffordshire and Cheshire. Brighter this afternoon with a mixture of sunny spells and a few scattered showers in places. Mainly dry by this evening with highs of 14 Celsius. And for an update any time, you can now ask your smart speaker to play BBC News for Stoke.
The sound of where we live.
And all the music you love. BBC Radio Stoke.
Voertuig op de wegstrook verderop. Ga rechtdoor gedurende 170,3 kilometer naar Junction 33 to A6.
Share and Believe on BBC Radio. So we'll come back to the Prime Minister, and the Cabinet Ministers have been rallying around the Prime Minister after a key meeting this morning. He is staying in post. 81 Labour MPs would need to find an alternative candidate in order to trigger a change in leadership. At the moment, 78 have announced they'd be willing to do that. We'll come back to that and more of your thoughts a little bit later on. First, do you remember your driving test? Just the thought of learning to drive does two things for me. One, it makes me feel anxious, and two, makes me feel really sweaty. I don't know what it is. If ever I'm cold, I should just go and sit with a driving instructor, because that will warm me. I did my driving lessons and tests in the summer, so maybe that's part of it, but it just feels such a stressy time. There's new rules starting today to crack down on people cheating driving tests and to stop companies block booking test slots. The DVSA, who oversee this kind of thing, is doing it to try and tackle a backlog of people wanting to take their test. The BBC has been speaking to learners and instructors about how long it takes.
The black market has taken advantage of this, knowing that there is such a demand, and people have found ways to manipulate the system to be able to book thousands of driving tests themselves, to then be able to resell on for a massively high inflated fee.
So there are people buying multiple tests and using bots, computers, and selling them at extremely inflated prices. Robert's a learner who bought tests from the driving test black market.
So when I first booked my driving test, which was £40, I didn't pass it, which is doomed. I did it again, took £40, and again, third time in a row. And total amount I paid was £726 for the driving tests. It's a struggle because at the moment we are with cost of living crisis.
Robert paid over £700 for 3 tests. Isn't it? These changes will make it so that that can't happen. But will they actually stop the driving test black market, or will it just make things more difficult for learners? Nick Heath's a driving instructor based in Old Sage. Nick, what's the situation round here with this? Morning.
Oh, well, it's not really improved since COVID. You know, we've got waiting lists up to the middle of October for local driving tests, maybe even a little bit further. That's why people are interested if they can get if they've got somebody saying, look, we've got one in a month's time.
Is that happening? Are people using the black market to buy driving tests?
I haven't got any evidence that my own learners are doing it, but obviously, I mean, you've spoken to that guy on the phone this morning. £700 for 3 tests. You know, they're £62 each if you buy them from the legitimate website.
So you book your tests for your students to make sure that they get a legitimate test and they're not being fleeced?
I did do until very, very recently, yes. My personal way of running my business is that I've always booked my own learner driving tests. So yeah, I find it, we get less mistakes that way, less double bookings and things, so that's why I've been doing it. The DVSA have said I can't do that now.
So individual learners have got to book their own?
Yeah, which isn't a huge problem because I mean people have been booking their own tests since I was learning to drive. You know, I think I booked my own test when I was 17. You know, it's easy enough for them to do. The reason I've always done it is I believe in giving a good all-round professional service. And if the DVSA perhaps have to cancel a test or move it, then they email us, and it's quite common for learners not to notice that their email's arrived, whereas I'm checking my email several times a day.
So are you a fan of these changes, and will it make any difference to the backlog?
I'm not sure it will make a difference to the backlog myself. You know, the way I've been booking tests through the DVSA's own online business service means that I have to have a driver number for the booking when I book it, and that means that I can't really book a load of tests without having drivers for them. You see, so I'm not totally sure how these people have been buying thousands of tests and then selling them on, because you shouldn't be able to book one unless you allocate it to an individual learner.
So will it be any better for learners or not?
I must admit, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I mean, the DVSA say they've got evidence that they've identified individual businesses that have been booking all these tests. But I'm not sure, because as far as the system works, as long as I'm aware, is you need a driver number to book a test. So if you're trying to book 1,000 driving tests, then you need 1,000 driver numbers.
Okay. Nick, thanks very much for your time this morning. Back to it. Nick Heath, driving instructor based in Old Sager, on this change to the way that people will be booking their driving tests, in the hope that it will reduce some of the backlog and stop people being fleeced. 700 quid for 3 tests when they're 60 odd quid each. You just heard that. In order to get a test date as soon as they can. Eurovision with that back in 1974. It's the first televised semi-final on the BBC tonight. We'll talk more about Eurovision after midday. Are you in or out of this? It really is the Marmite of the television world. You either kind of love it or hate it. I don't know anyone who's kind of, yeah, it's all right. I think you're one or the other, aren't you? We'll talk more about Eurovision a little later. Coming up on BBC Radio Stoke, more on the Prime Minister. We'll talk as well about great teachers. Best teacher you've ever had and the impact they've had on your life, following up from a story we ran yesterday.
Never made it as a wise man. I couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing. Tired of living like a blind man. I'm sick aside without a sense of feeling. And this is how you remind me. This is how you remind me of what I really am. This is how you remind me of what I really am. It's not like you said sorry.
Nickelback and How You Remind Me on BBC Radio Stoke. Some big news to bring you today. Pudsey Bear has found his voice.
This is huge.
An exciting announcement.
Big news from BBC Children in Need. Pudsey is speaking up this week for the very first time.
Hello? Is this thing on? My name's Pudsey. I've never spoken before, but I'm speaking now because talking can make a big difference to children's mental health. Those simple, everyday chats, in the car, at dinner, before bed, they can help children open up about their worries before they get bigger. Every child needs someone to talk to. That's why I'm talking to you today.
Be someone a child can talk to. Search BBC Children in Need to find out how.
It's part of a new Children in Need campaign urging adults to listen and be there for young people before small worries turn into something bigger. Supportive resources to help parents, carers and other trusted adults have positive conversations about mental health with the children in their lives are available on the Children in Need website.
The sound of where we live.
Often that trusted adult will be a teacher. Last week we heard about an adored and retired teacher from Eccleshall, Mr. Wright, who was described by his former pupils as a great mentor and a lovely man. Those words taken from tributes paid to him on a Facebook alumni page after his students heard Mr. Wright had died. Except he hadn't. No one was more shocked than the man himself. He told me how he found out about his own death.
I retired in 2007, and evidently the Facebook page was created after my retirement. Wasn't much there, just the odd bit, there's no friends. And then anyway, I got down to the 23rd of October 2009, and that's when I had an absolute shocker, because in black capital letters, which, oh my God, did Mr. Wright die? Question mark.
Since coming onto the BBC and putting the record straight, has had an overwhelming response.
It's been the craziest period of my entire life. A very good one, because the truth finally come out thanks to the BBC. But it has been absolutely crazy. I mean, I just haven't stopped. Just wonderful responses. Everyone so complimentary. Said to you before, I find that highly embarrassing because my personality, but it's just been absolutely remarkable.
We wondered if some of these former students who wrote tributes to Mr. Wright would be quite happy to hear about the mishap. But he's still around, he's still alive and kicking. So yesterday I spoke to one of his former students, Tom Baird, and his memories of Mr. Wright.
I suppose every child has a different experience at school. I can honestly say I now miss school, but it was through Mr. Wright who spent time with students, explained stuff, we went above and beyond, and remembered why he probably was a teacher in the first place. That really stood out. I went to school and he was my teacher from 92 to 97, so coming up to 30 years. And still now, I still talk to my children about the fondness I had for Mr. Wright because he was such a great teacher, a great influence on my life.
Sometimes I think teachers get a really bad rap, and I will say that was a married one, but I do think it's quite easy to forget when you're there day to day, teaching your lessons, planning your lessons, marking the homework, sorting out your coursework, getting ready for exams, it's GCSE A-level season at the moment, and so on. And it's quite easy when you're in the cut and thrust of that day-to-day teaching to forget the importance of what teachers do, which isn't necessarily, teaching you which bits of the heart do what, or explaining about plate tectonics, or telling you what a noun is, or how to work out Pythagoras' theorem, or anything like that. It's the other side of it. Being someone who you trust, who you look up to, who you admire, and who, when you leave school, something Mr. Mr. Wright said yesterday, which really struck me, was along the lines of, as a teacher, it was advice he was given, along the lines of, as a teacher, at some point in the future, all you will be to these students is a memory. Make sure it's a good one. Which of your teachers did that? Who do you have really fond memories of at school? Was there a teacher who stood out to you, who helped you through a different time, got you through a different course, maybe inspired you into whichever job you went into? 0800 121 8080. Free phone number this morning. 81333 Stoke and your message. New music from the Rolling Stones now. Got its first play last week on the show. This is In the Stars on BBC Radio Stoke. Records that they're new from the Stones. It's called In the Stars. Pip says Mick and Keith sound most good. Drummer not as slick as Charlie. Miss Charlie, says Pip. huge Rolling Stones fan, so it's a kind of vote of confidence from him. What do you think? Brand new music from the Stones? Let me know on the usual numbers. On the way, already stories coming in about the teachers who have shaped your life in some way. Hopefully, positively. I mean, there's one or two. If we're going to do that, I sat through history lessons for years. There was no way I was ever going to do anything for history. That kind of thing. But who inspired you? Which teachers were there for you through a difficult time? Which teachers had a really positive influence on your life? 0800 121 8080. 11:30, latest on the roads through Staffordshire and Cheshire this morning. Start with the major routes, nothing to worry about on the M6. A50 looks good too, as does the A500. We're slow on the A53 between Endon and Stockton Brook and through Norton Heights. A couple of stretches of roadworks there. A520 is closed from Cellar Headlights to Western Coyne, both directions closed there. Stafford looks a little bit busy coming in on the A518 as you come into town from Tixall Road on Western Road. There's roadworks as well on Queensway, so if you're heading south on the A34 between the two big roundabouts in the town centre, that will slow you down as well. Rest of the region not looking bad though. Alden, we've still got closure of the A525. Anything else, 0800 121 8080. Your weather today, some showers around this morning. It's feeling chilly as well first thing. It will warm up obviously as the day goes on. Some light rain around, cloud will clear this afternoon to leave sunny spells with a few scattered showers. Mainly dry this evening, top temperature today of 14 Celsius.
On BBC iPlayer, on Brothers Casino.
Well, I ran down this month. Someone's listening.
Starring Sheridan Smith and Michael Socker.
What are you doing now?
What are you telling? The odds are stacked against them.
I'll get you money. No, you won't. You think you've got problems?
I have got problems. I'm going to be kicked out on the street. The Cage.
You lied. You should know that if you're his girlfriend.
I'm not his girlfriend.
Alright, I'm standing here.
Watch all episodes on BBC iPlayer.
BBC Radio Stoke, Tuesday, May the 12th. This could be a day that goes down in history. We'll have to wait and see. Sir Keir Starmer has insisted he will go on governing, despite growing calls for him to resign. The Prime Minister says he takes responsibility for last week's election results, but instability has an economic cost for families, and he's getting on with the job. He's getting on with the job, he says. There's been a cabinet meeting this morning in Downing Street. Meanwhile, away from Downing Street, the number of MPs saying he should go is increasing. It's now at 80. It needs to be 81 to trigger some kind of movement or election of a new leader for the Labour Party. BBC's chief political correspondent Henry Zeffman said Sir Keir delivered a tough message at the start of the cabinet meeting.
That is Keir Starmer saying to the cabinet, and then through us to Labour MPs, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough. He is saying we don't have a situation of no confidence letters. He's saying if you want to get rid of me, 81 of you need to back an alternative candidate, and they will have to fight me with the Labour Party membership.
Nigel shared his thoughts this morning.
On this current situation with Starmer and the Labour Party and the condition of the country, I've got a very interesting analogy you could probably use here. If I was to walk into your home with a sledgehammer and spend 14 hours smashing it up, do you think anybody could fix that in 2 hours? That's a great analogy of the current situation. The previous Tory government spent 14 years systematically dismantling the country. Do you really think any government was going to fix that in 2 years? I don't. Whoever got into that job, especially the candidates available at that previous election, nobody was going to have an easy time of it. The country was left in a very, very, very bad state. Do I think Starmer's doing a particularly good job? No. But when you look at the current crop, there's barely a decent human being among them that I'd trust to do a better one. That's my 2 cents anyway. This is Nigel from Stoke. Cheers.
Cheers, Nigel. 0800 121 8080 to have your say. Let's get the very latest on what's going on live in Downing Street. BBC's political reporter Matt Cole. Matt, what is the latest as far as you know?
Well, as things stand, Keir Starmer is still the Prime Minister, still the leader of the Labour Party, and no contest to oust him has been triggered, a point he himself made in a statement that he released while he was meeting with his cabinet this morning. He said the Labour Party has a process for challenging a leader, and that has not been triggered. He said the country expects us to get on with governing, and that is what I am doing. So we've had a succession of cabinet ministers actually come out from the door of number 10 over the last sort of 45 minutes or an hour or so, and those that have stopped to have a word have all been absolutely solidly behind the Prime Minister. Pat McFadden, Work and Pension Secretary, saying no one challenged the PM at the cabinet table. Jenny Chapman, Baroness Chapman, devolution, the Development Minister rather, said there was not one dissenting voice at the cabinet table. James Murray, part of the Treasury team, said he's getting on with the job, and so we've had sort of a succession of the most senior team around the Prime Minister coming out and giving him their backing. Now, interestingly, actually, Wes Streeting, who many obviously are talking about as being potentially the man who's got his eyes on the job, admittedly, one he says he's not going to go for until there's a vacancy. He came out, the Health Secretary, clutching a bright red ministerial box shining in the sunshine. He didn't stop to speak. He walked on. Didn't even give us a nod or a wave, actually, so a penny for his thoughts. But of those who did stop and have a word, they've all been speaking of how, look, it's destabilising what these 80-odd MPs have been doing, calling for the Prime Minister to go, and they need to stop because obviously it's not helping with things like interest charges at banks for the cost of living.
As it stands at the moment, 80 Labour MPs have said that they want a change in leadership. The trigger to see a change in leadership is 81. Is it more difficult, do you think, to be the 81st than it would have been to be the 17th or the 23rd, or perhaps one that's less consequential?
No, because that's not quite right. Yes, 81 is the number that you have to get, but that's to get them to sign the nomination paper of a challenger. These 81 do not all want the same candidates. They, some will want probably, West Streeting, maybe some of those are asking for a quick contest here because they know that, that's in their guys' favour, because those will call in for a much longer,
orderly timetable for a longer transition are probably maybe some of the Andy Burnham supporters who need a bit of time for him to see a by-election triggered, get on the paper, win it, and then get to Parliament. So actually, 81 could come and go as a number, 85, 200 could come and go as a number. It doesn't make a jot of difference if you don't get people then signing the nominations papers of a candidate to then challenge. Now, admittedly, I say that, of course, if you've got the sort of something in the region of 200, for example, and suddenly saying that he should go, at that point, I think he might start thinking it's time to step aside. 405 is the number of Labour MPs. If you had all of them, then yeah, I think it would be unsustainable. I guess it's resignations that we have to be looking out for. At the moment, we had yesterday, 6 parliamentary private secretaries, the most junior kind of government members, they resigned. This morning we had one minister, Miata Fangole, Minister for Devolution Communities. She has resigned, but no other ministers have. That didn't then lead to an avalanche of ministers, certainly not cabinet ministers. Now, I stood in this very street when Boris Johnson's time was up as cabinet ministers walked away, Rishi Sunak obviously being amongst them, but people quit, and suddenly he couldn't fill the posts, he couldn't put together a team, and at that point the Prime Minister is done for. We are not anywhere near there at the moment, and so actually until we get to those kind of developments happening, 85, 86, 90, 100 MPs doesn't necessarily change the dial here, because the Prime Minister is actually adamant at the moment, he's seeing the job through.
And so where does this leave us with the state opening of Parliament tomorrow and the King's speech with a seemingly disunited row of benches with Labour MPs?
It's a weird one, isn't it? Yeah, tomorrow, because obviously Parliament was prorogued, the last session ended just before the local elections. We've had this gap in which obviously Labour had these terrible results, losing control of 38 councils, losing 1,500 councillors. So the mood around the party has gone a bit south. I think the idea was potentially the reason they prorogued Parliament then to have it reopen this coming Wednesday was maybe because it would give them a chance to kind of reset if things went badly, and of course they did. So tomorrow, yeah, we've got the legislative programme that's set out and written by Sir Keir Starmer and his team, will be printed. It's probably already inked, probably drying now on a piece of goat vellum, and the King will sit on the throne in the House of Lords tomorrow amidst all the pomp and ceremony and read out that programme of what is planned. And I think Sir Keir and his team will hope there's stuff in there that will excite people to think, oh, actually, hang on, this is going to be the kind of government we can get behind. This is the plan we want. This is the change we promised at the election. Will it be? Don't know. Will whatever it says be enough for those who are opposing so publicly the Prime Minister? Probably not either. So as things stand, it could be a very strange event to take place with all these huge question marks hanging over the man whose legislative programme will be presented to the country tomorrow.
We'll watch with interest. For now, Matt Cole, thank you very much. Live in Downing Street for BBC Radio Stoke political reporter Matt Cole with the very latest. Your thoughts coming in 0800 121 8080 on where we stand at the moment with the government. 80 Labour MPs want Keir Starmer to go. Many people calling this programme have said they want Keir Starmer to go, but not everyone. It feels more balanced today. I don't know why, but it just feels that there's more people thinking along the lines of what would be the consequences of a change in Prime Minister. Liz in Audley says, what a well-balanced person Rich was. He sent a voice note earlier. I'm so tired of all this vitriol against Starmer. Let him stick it out. He'll go when he's ready. People are so nasty, you forget he's a human being. Some of the journalists out there are really vying for him. The country's in a right state, so rather than change things drastically, let him sort it out. Meanwhile, across the pond, President Trump started a war which people aren't as bothered about now. Are you with Liz on this? 0800 121 8080. We'll obviously keep an eye on it through the day and hear more of your thoughts. I've got Otis Redding sitting on the dock of the bay.
After sort of 12 years of success with both the chairman and Style Council, And so, in an ever-changing world, especially though that period of the late 80s, early 90s, where, you know, well, especially in Manchester, where house took over and dance music culture, Paul sort of had to find his way in the middle of that, through that, and get back on the bus, as it were, or get back on the bike. So, what with the book, we've covered the whole of the 90s, but it did really start, obviously it starts in that period where Paul didn't have a deal.
Nicky, he's your brother. You obviously, you're with him all the time. Was there ever a moment when he looked at where he was and the fact that he'd walked away from one of the most successful rock and roll bands in the history of rock and roll?
I don't think he kind of regretted anything about walking away from the Jam. I think that was the kind of right thing to do. Obviously the Star Council was a completely different move for him. He could bring in different music, different musicians, you know, a whole different vibe really. I think the Jam had kind of done what it was supposed to do. And then obviously the Star Council was just something different. It even with the audiences, it was, you know, loads of girls turning up, and it was just a different vibe, and it was great for those little short space of time again. You know, then the label didn't take the last album, and obviously he was kind of like in a little bit of limbo for a while, but
Rechtsafslaan naar M6 Noord.
He was always going to do something else again, and like Stu said, he sort of started grassroots again right up, and lucky for him, you know, got another deal and kind of hit the big time again. Amazing.
Stu, when you look at the material that you've gathered for the book, I found it incredible, and it's not just interviews, and which are really valuable with people like Mick Talbot that was with Paul and Star Council and collaborated. One thing that you managed to frame that really surprised me, that you don't get that in books about music, are the fans. What was it like getting those stories for those people that still wanted to watch Paul Weller perform and came to see him performing right at the start of the 90s and then onwards?
I've done a couple of fan-based books before, one on the Jam and one on the Star Council was a bit more broad than that, but I've got, this time I wanted to be a more illustrated, sort of overview of Paul's career in that period, which for me, during the 90s, that being the last decade of analogue before the millennium went digital, and I just thought that was an interesting sort of look at Paul's career, because that was, you know, the time of million sellers and stuff that he got to, and so the fans wasn't so much an afterthought, because we used certain fans' material and memorabilia, but I've got so many, you know, I'm a massive fan of Paul, obviously, and I just had so many people that I knew could contribute to the smallest bits who were there from the start. You know, I can't actually claim to be, you know, after the Star Council sort of split and that, my head was basically in dance music, as I said earlier. And so when Paul came back, it wasn't sort of major news, and I didn't rush out to go and see him on that first sort of tour, but I knew plenty of people who did. So their stories are actually invaluable for it, and they sort of reignited a couple of memories that I've forgotten as well. So fans are obviously always important to any sort of book, I think. I don't think enough people use fans enough when it comes to writing books about certain artists, but Paul's fan base is obviously rabid and has been there a long time, and you know, the connection with Nicky and Paul and Paul's father and mother were fantastic, you know, so you couldn't really do a better book without talking to fans.
Talking to you, Nicky, as I have over the years, what's your kid like when the books that you do are honest? It's not, you know, it's not some sort of like rose-coloured view of life with your brother and his career. They're really honest, and you look at everything. What's he like about you when you do these books?
He's a bit plus, to be honest with you. Sometimes he's he's, you know, it's kind of like, oh, what are you doing? It's like, you know, it is a bit like that really, but he loved the grown-up Jam one, and did growing up punk as well. Stu's So Deep was excellent, I thought, as well. This one, he hasn't really said much about this one, but I'm sure he's going to love it when he sees it.
The one thing that, I was saying, the one thing that I know that I've always loved talking to you and your kid back in the day is because of your working class roots and the fact that your dad got involved with Paul and with his career. What was that like, having your dad involved? And he worked so hard for you.
It was amazing. I mean, you know, back in the very early days of being local with Steve and Paul being a jam and playing around workmen's clubs and that, my dad would come back from work from the building site, absolutely filthy, have a quick wash, get out of the van and go and pinch a van off a mate or something and take the boys out to a gig. And obviously me and Mum were always the ones that were turning up to you know, be the little audience dancing, get up girls, and you know, get everybody dancing. And he was so passionate. Everything my dad did was kind of passionate thing, and I think I've kind of taken on my dad's role really. I feel very strongly when I do something, I kind of am very passionate about it, and I think I've got a lot of my dad in me, to be honest with you. I'm a bit of a devil in terms of aspects.
Well, I quite like that about you, Nicky. And you know, Stuart, you should be proud of the book, both of you. It's an absolutely beautiful book. I think the memorabilia that's illustrated, but also I do love the conversations with people whose interest in Paul Weller are what he does on stage as a fan, and I think that we often miss out on that. Great talking to you, Stuart, and great talking to you, Nicky, again. You take care, both of you.
Mike, can I just get you give us a plug? We've got a book launch at the Amber Club on the 11th of June.
So that's in London?
Yes, get there.
The legend.
Yeah, and the book comes out next week, Mike. Should be stocked up next week and ready to fly.
And I'll be giving the details. So the book is called In the Shadow of the Sun, Paul Weller in the 90s. It really is a beautiful book, limited edition hardback, published by So Deep, and it is out on the 28th of May. But one again, where's the book launch? The date for the 100 Club?
100 Club, 11th of June.
Great talking to both of you, Nicky and Stuart. Cheers, guys. Thanks so much. Nicky Weller talking about the book that her and Stuart Deeble put together about her brother and his career in the 90s, and that part of it, you know, honestly, the part that there were moments when he didn't even have a record deal for a year.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting in the evening car, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away again. Yeah, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Just sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I've had nothing to live for, look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Looks like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Yes, sitting here resting my bones in this loneliness won't alone. Listen, 2,000 miles I roam just to make this black cloud home. Now I'm just gonna sit at the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time.
classic track from Otis Redding. Great tracks on the way by one, just over an hour in the week.
The BBC Sounds app on your smart speaker.
Play BBC Radio Manchester.
And on your radio.
The sound of Manchester is
BBC Radio Manchester.
At midday with the latest BBC News for Greater Manchester, I'm Michelle Adamson. Several cabinet ministers have said they're still supporting the Prime Minister as pressure mounts on Sir Keir Starmer to resign following last week's punishing local election results for Labour. So far, 80 MPs have called on him to quit, and one government minister, Miata Fanwile, has resigned. In a cabinet meeting this morning, Sir Keir pledged to continue governing the country. Work and Pensions Secretary Pat McFadden said that there was still support for the Prime Minister. Did anyone publicly challenge him around the cabinet?
Many statements of support for the job that he's doing. And that's what the
Can you hang on?
carry on with his job as he should, as the public will expect him to.
Professor John Tong is a politics expert from the University of Liverpool.
That's 70 to 80 Labour MPs who have declared their hand so far. They haven't coalesced around a particular candidate. They're scattered across various possibilities. And of course, there is still the spectre of Andy Burnham, because the longer that Keir Starmer remains in power, the greater the chance that Andy Burnham can fix up a seat at Westminster that he may contest, may win, and get himself back to Westminster. So you'd hardly say Keir Starmer is safe, but he's probably safer than he was 2 hours ago before that cabinet meeting started.
A couple have spoken of their relief after helping to save a 10-year-old boy who took a wrong turn on his bike and ended up on the M61 hard shoulder heading towards oncoming traffic. Laura Pilling was driving home from the Lake District with Lauren Campbell when they spotted the youngster near Bolton on Sunday afternoon. They called emergency services and managed to get the boy to safety. Laura says it was terrifying.
I was just panicking, thinking that the police need to try and reduce the speed limit on the motorway. They need to get to this boy. We need to get this boy. It was just horrific. So we knew he was young, and we was just thinking, oh my goodness, like this little boy could just end in tragedy.
A 28-year-old man's been charged with drug smuggling after almost £500,000 worth of crystal meth was found in a suitcase at Manchester Airport. It's alleged that 47 kilograms of the drug was smuggled into the country from Mexico. Jose Alexis Mendez from the US, who was arrested at a hotel in Manchester on Friday, is due to appear at Manchester Crown Court next month. The Green Party of England and Wales has described its leader, Zach Polanski, potentially failing to pay council tax as an unintentional mistake. Mr Polanski from Salford had recently been living on a houseboat in London, which, if it was used as his main residence, would have been liable for council tax. The party said he'd taken steps to pay any missed tax he may have found to be owed. From today, only learner drivers can book, change or swap their practical test. It's to crack down on businesses that book multiple tests and sell them at inflated prices. Our business correspondent Simon Browning says the high demand for tests is fueling the problem.
Waiting times at the moment basically across Britain are up to 5 months. And then honest learners then have to buy those tests from the resellers who've bought them from bots, and they average about £200 to £300, and people are paying it just such as the desperation to get a driving test.
The clouds should start to clear away more this afternoon to bring some sunny spells, but there will still be a few scattered showers in places. Highs of 13 Celsius for an update any time. Ask your smart speaker to play BBC News for Manchester. Well, there are delays on the M61 going south at Junction 1, the Swims Interchange turn-off. It's taking 10 minutes to get through there at the moment. On the trams, minor delays at the moment between Altrincham and Bury, between Manchester Airport and Victoria, and also between East Didsbury and Rochdale Town Centre. It's all because of a faulty tram. In Lymm, roadworks have closed Birchbrook Road between Springbank Gardens and Reddish Lane. And in Poynton, roadworks have closed Woodford Road from Mill Hill Avenue to Chester Road. More travel at past.
The sound of Manchester. And all the music you love. BBC Radio Manchester.
James and sit down. We'll be finding out the very latest of what's happening with the Prime Minister. We've also got Dr. Susie. She's with us every fortnight, so we're going to be speaking to her. And a brilliant set of songs for you between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock today. The rewind, I think I know where I am. Certainly with one of the years, I'm almost certain about both of them. But here's where we're going to be going in 51 minutes time.
BBC Radio Manchester.
I mean, we like talking, don't we? We like talking.
We're big on the chat.
You can shut up now. Back at 2 o'clock this afternoon.
See you then.
Also, you've got a big guest on the show today.
Go on.
Patricia Cornwell.
You're excited about this,
I
aren't you?
think this is brilliant. Big name in books.
Big name. Lovely
There we go.
stuff.
And Big Zoo. Don't forget Big Zoo as well. Pete Otway with you from 2 o'clock this afternoon. In fact, I've not told Pete this. I'll tell him now he can't speak because I've turned his microphone off. I was on, I've told you about my train ride on Saturday where I just make like, I'll bring you in here, Pete.
Go on.
I just make mates with anybody.
I can imagine.
Right, I literally talk to anybody. So, best mates with Mike and Paula from Billinge. Got chatting to a lovely consultant who practices in Lancashire, consultant urologist. I was like, give us your number, you'll be a guest on my show in a few weeks' time. I've lost my thread though.
I bet your husband and your kids when you're out with them. Can we go now, please? Taxi's in. Do you know what I mean?
I walked the dog 2 hours later. I come back. And I was chatting to this lovely couple, Mike and Paula from Billinge, and they were saying nice things about BBC Radio Lancashire. Really big listeners, because he said to me, oh, you're on your way to London, aren't you? Your son's leaving at home this weekend. They knew it all, it was great. And they said, that Pete Otway's alright, isn't he?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Pete Otway's alright.
Here we go.
So there he is.
Yes.
Pete with you from 2 o'clock this afternoon and back on breakfast at 6 in for Graham tomorrow.
Yes, I swear it's a truth, and I owe you.
Mind, starring the wonderful, brilliant, talented, gorgeous Patrick Swayze, Dirty Dancing, Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes, The Time of My Life on BBC Radio Lancashire. We've got a listener in Morecambe. Well, hopefully we've got more than one, but somebody just messaged in. The reception for Radio Lancashire has gone down in North Lancs. Yeah, we've got a bit of an issue. It's like planned maintenance works. Just to reiterate, so it was about 10:30. We had to basically flick the big switch and turn the 104.5 transmitter off, and then we'll put it back on again. So that was about 10:30 this morning. We reckon it could be off for up to 3 hours. 2 hours into that now, so fingers crossed, should be on 1:30ish, back on this afternoon. But as this person is doing, who's messaged in, I think you are listening on BBC Sounds, aren't you? So you can continue to listen on Freeview, digital DAB, BBC Sounds, that's online or via the app as well, or via your smart speakers. So nothing to worry about. It's essential maintenance works, and we should be back on that frequency, 104.5, in around an hour or so's time. Catman John, you haven't been on, or what? So I mentioned earlier, we got a lovely message in from, where is it here? It was from Joe, who is the social secretary of Accrington Motorcycle Club. You've got a fundraiser, which is marvellous, and we like to give these sorts of things a mention, raising money for the East Lancashire Hospice. All taking place this coming Saturday, the 16th of May, at Poplar Social Club, which is on Wellington Street in Accrington, and it's the Stereo Sonics. What a brilliant name for a tribute band, and apparently, according to this poster, they are the UK's #1 stereophonics tribute band. And Catman John says, "Hi Shazza, are you okay? I'm tired today. I'm tired, but I'm fueled by caffeine, so I'm fine." He says, "Are you getting tickets for the Stereo Sonics and the like tribute bands?" Yeah, we won't talk about that. The Foo Fighters. Oh, and this person's message back now. So that issue I told you about with the FM frequency, apparently we are now back on. So there we go. Thank you for getting in touch. You're listening to BBC Radio Lancashire. I'm a bit late for this. Apologies. It's 12:20.
BBC Radio Lancashire Travel.
It's just roadworks to watch out for in Charlotte Richard. You've got temporary lights on Town Lane from the 849 Preston Road because of electricity work. In Burnley, there are temporary lights on Casterton Avenue at Ribble Avenue because of electricity work. In Walton le Dale, you've got temporary lights on Hemel Lane at Oakwood Avenue because of water main work. And finally, for now in Dalton, there are temporary lights on Ashley Road at Lindholm because of gas main work.
Graham Liver at breakfast.
This is our guest bathroom, we're doing.
Why is it a guest one? Is it not the family bathroom?
We don't have a family.
No, but we use our ensuite. Right, so
in the middle of the night,
so
when
I get a guest bathroom.
In the middle of the night when I have a pee, and that happens a lot more nowadays, I get up and I walk to our bathroom.
Yeah, so the other one is actually the family bathroom.
Is it? Well, it's a guest bathroom.
No, it's not. It's the family bathroom. Do you use it?
Dave has a bath in it.
Right, well,
because it's the only one with a bath in, and I don't like baths are boring. Well, if it was a family bathroom, the dogs, in fact, the dogs do use it.
Graham Liver at breakfast. Weekdays from 6. Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Lancashire.
The sound of Lancashire.
So Lancashire, so listen.
BBC Radio Lancashire.
That awful small affair to the girl with the mousy hair, but her mommy is yelling no, and her daddy has told her to go, but her friend is nowhere to be seen. Now she walks through her sunken dream to the seat with the clearest view, and she's hooked to the silver screen. But the film is a sad thing for, but she's lived it 10 times or more. She could spit in the eyes of fools if they ask her to blow the song to sing. Fighting in the dance hall, oh man, those give and go. If the king is young, on the merry cars towards the bride. Mickey Mouse has grown up a cow. Now the workers have struck fame. Sledding's on sale again. See the mice in their milking pots. From Ibiza to the Northwest. The Britannia is out of bounds. To my mother, my dog and clowns. But the film is a sad thing more. 'Cause I wrote it 10 times or more. It's about to be written again. As I ask you to know the song today. I'm in the dance hall. Those cavemen go. It's the freakiest show. Take a look at the
It's David Bowie, and it's Life on Mars on BBC Radio Lancashire. Welcome to the show. It's really good to have you listening. It is Tuesday afternoon, it's the 12th of May. The time is 26 minutes past. Did I just tell you that? Okay. I'm going tired a little bit earlier. Normally I lose the ability to speak at around 1:45, but it's happening early today. As you know, I went to Blackpool last night to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I'd go every night this week if I could, because it is that good. But I didn't get home till it was gone 11 o'clock, so by the time you've done your makeup and pyjamas on and you're in bed, it was such a crazy late night. So apologies for sounding like I don't know if I'm coming and going. 26 minutes past 12. My name is Sharon Hartley, and I am with you until 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then it is Pete Otway. And as you heard Pete chatting before, we've got loads of brilliant stuff coming on the show this afternoon. Big Zoo, a very famous author as well, talking all things books. It's going to be really good. So do stick with us right throughout the day here on BBC Radio Lancashire. Now, for 33 years, the well-known Lancashire-based charity Darien House has been supporting children and families. You've heard about them on the breakfast show, on this show, with Nish in the afternoons, at weekends. We've heard from families that are looked after, the impact it's had, fundraisers, all of it. Well, Carrie-Anne Haydock's granddad, Ian, founded the hospice, and now Carrie-Anne, along with her mum Leslie, is writing a book all about it. But they need your help. So while you're listening to this, and if you're thinking, I've got a story, I've got a picture, I might be able to help, ring us. Do it while Carrie-Anne is here. 0800 7833 583. We've got Claire and Leon ready to take your calls, or you can message me during the course of our chat. 08000 321 333, and start your WhatsApp message with the word Lance. I'm delighted to welcome Carrie-Anne to the studio this afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm alright, thanks. How are you?
I'm a little bit tired.
I can tell.
But I'm alright, Carrie-Anne, I'm alright. You've got youth on your side. I haven't, but anyway. Thank you for coming in. It's lovely to meet you. As I mentioned there in the intro, Grandad Ian. In fact, before we talk about this, I'm going to share something now. When we were reading about Darien House this morning, I've always wondered, Darien, where did that name come from? Would you mind just sharing that with us?
Yes, so my granddad, Ian, the founder, and my great-uncle, so my granddad's brother, was called Derek. That is who the charity is sort of built in memory of. Merge the names together, Derek, Ian, Darien.
It's so simple, and so clever. And for years, at the age of 52 today, I was like, there we go, Darien House. It is brilliant. Take me back, Carrie-Anne, before we talk about the book and the plans for what you're doing in the future. Just tell me a bit about how it all started. And you mentioned mentioned there your great uncle and your granddad as well.
Yeah.
Why did it all come about?
So my granddad's brother was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and he passed away at 19. And my great uncle and my granddad were ridiculously close. He was very much like the bad influential big brother. 100%. And then one day my granddad had a few drinks and was like, you know what, I'm gonna make a hospice, because there wasn't that much to benefit Derek when he was sort of going through his like disease disability.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And he just started,
and he did it.
That is absolutely incredible. How did you do that then, from having a few scoops, and your granddad sounds like quite the character, quite a character, to, you know, to what it is today? Where did it start?
It was a long process. It took a lot of hustling, jumble sales, just reaching out to anyone who has ears, basically. He managed to, like, get the word out there. He got some, like, local celebrities who donated time, sort of put the word out there. Was on a few radio shows, and he managed to raise the money to register as a charity, and then the rest is history.
It is, isn't it? It really is. But talk about starting from the ground up.
Oh, he really started with zero, like just a dream.
We hear from so many people, Carrie Ann, be it youngsters and their families and their friends that have been impacted in some way by Darien House. And I think the one thing that comes across all the time is the sense of family, is a sense of positivity, that it's actually a really beautiful place. You must be incredibly proud to be part of that, in fact.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, honestly, I kind of brag about it. Even though I wasn't there, I was a glint in my father's eye at that point. But I'll be like, do you know my granddad was the founder of Darien House?
I love that.
It's great.
And you've just had a baby. It's toddler now, aren't we? We're talking 19 months old. Tell me about the significance of your little boy's name.
So, my granddad was called Ian Arthur Haydock, and my fiance always liked the name Arthur, and I was like, oh, you know what? My granddad's middle name is Arthur, so why don't we?
Carrying on that family legacy. So nice. Well, let's bring it back to present day. Tell me about the book that you and your mum, Leslie, and Leslie's here, isn't she, your mum? She's looking after the little boy.
Yeah, she's on babysitting duty.
Which is brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Tell me about your plans with this book and how that came about.
So, we have always sort of been on the sidelines. Obviously, like, it was my granddad who did the thing, and then as a family we just kind of took a step back and let the pros run the hospice. So, other than doing a bit of fundraising, we've never had that much to do with Darien House, and we've always wanted to have more of an impact on them than we currently have.
Right.
So recently a documentary came out about Darien House called The Little Things, and we thought, oh, that is amazing, like everyone's getting to tell their stories, and it's like you get to see like the inside scoop into Darien House, and we were like, wanted to do something similar to that but on a bigger scale. So we thought, you know, with a book you don't have to condense it down into like
it can be as big as you want it to be, can't it?
Yeah, and we just want people to say anything, basically.
So are we talking families, people that children have been with you in Darien House, supporters, fundraisers, staff, new plants maybe?
Yeah, literally anybody. They don't even have to have a relation to Darien House. Literally just if they've got something that they want to put in the book. The whole point is that we want it to put a smile on people's faces.
Yeah.
So we have a few people that have already agreed to put in contributions. We've got a little girl who she makes her own money and she's going to put her story in there, and we've got a comedian that's going to put something in there.
Yeah.
So, and then we're looking for maybe like kids to draw pictures or anything that they think will put a smile on people's faces. And then as well as that, anyone who has a story about Darien so staff, volunteers, anyone who's fundraised for them, obviously any families, siblings of people that have been to Darien House, anything like that.
Just hearing you talk there, and the fact that Darien House has been going for 33 years, there is such a ripple impact, isn't there? So maybe one person has been to Darien House, but then it's touched that family, and then as a result it spread to that fundraising, and then and the ripple effect is massive. The chances are there are going to be hundreds upon hundreds of people out there carrying on. Have you thought about the scale of this, how big it could get?
We were considering we may have to do a sequel book if we get too many people.
And why is it important that it's about positivity and putting a smile on people's faces?
I think that's what Darien House stands for, really. Like, when people hear hospice, they think...
It's that word, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is that word,
Especially with a children's hospice, they think, oh, it's kids and it's a sad space, but it's not. Like, we've been to Darien House multiple times, we've had tours, walkthroughs, the whole lot, and it's honestly, it's such a happy, positive place. The kids there are all, like, over the moon to be there, and everyone who has come forward and said, oh yeah, like, we had someone at Darien House, or, oh, my sister was there, whatever, they have all said, like, oh, it's such a lovely place. Like, they have this big thing about sunflowers, and just happiness. They want people to make memories there. They don't want to see it as a sad place.
Fantastic. If there are people listening, and there will be people listening, plenty of people that have in some way been touched or been involved with Darien House, where do they start with this? How do you get their submissions? What do you want?
So we have a Facebook page. It's called A Darien House Story.
I'm going to write this down in case anybody rings up.
Yeah, A Darien House Story, Let's Write a Book. That's the full name.
Right.
But it comes up if you just search Darien House Story. We also have an email called darienbook@gmail.com, and if you contact us through any of those, on the Facebook page we have a survey you can fill out, and you can give us your details and then we'll contact you.
Just give me that email address again.
darienbook@gmail.com.
Excellent, great name. Really good. Coming back to Grandad Ian, what would he make of what you and your mum are doing?
I think he'd be happy, but he was very much the kind of person who was like, I've done my thing now, like, let the professionals do it, let the professional author write the book. But I mean, he was always so proud of what he did, and
what a thing to have created. Absolutely amazing. And like you said, you want all these contributions. It sounds like it's going to be, and this is it's at the heart of Darien House, a real community project.
Yeah, that's the whole point. We want it to be just anyone and everyone in the community, basically writing the book. Just a community project.
Brilliant. It's been so lovely to chat, Carrie Ann, and thank you for bringing your mum as babysitter, and thank you for bringing baby Alda. And it's been a pleasure to speak. We've got that email address, we've got the contacts for social media. So if you want any further info about that, you can just ring us here. It's a Darien House Story, Let's Write a Book. If you are on social media, we've got an email address as Carrie Ann shared with us. I won't give you that over the airwaves now, I'll just give you our number. Loads of information, 0800 7833 583. So you might have services at Darien House, it may have affected a member of your family who's been cancer, you might be a fundraiser for whatever reason, you might have worked there previously, volunteered in one of the shops, whatever it might be. They want your stories. It's really lovely. A book of positivity and ultimately to put a smile on people's faces. You're listening to BBC Radio Lancashire.
Op de rotonde neemt de tweede afslag naar A6 towards Lancaster. Begin trajectcontrole. Over 6,7 kilometer. Op de rotonde neemt de derde afslag naar A6 South Road. Je nadert een flitspaal.
Want Me, Baby, and then before that, the new, I say the new one, we've been playing it a while now, but it's still a latest one. Ella Langley and Choosing Texas on BBC Radio Lancashire. How lovely was Carrie Ann? Really, really nice to talk to her. Carrie Ann Haydock. Her granddad, Ian, founded Darien House, and I can't believe it has taken me up until today, like actually today at about 8 o'clock this morning, when I was just having a look around the website, because I've always thought where the name Darien comes from. It was Carrie Ann's granddad, Ian, and his brother, Derek, okay, and it's a combination of the two names, Darien. Very, very simple, very effective. They're writing a book, so although Carrie Ann will say, well, we're not actually writing the book, they're gathering all the info. So Carrie Ann is doing this with her mum, Leslie. Leslie was here actually, but was on grandson duties, which was really, really cute. And we want your story, so if you have been involved in any way with Darien House, in terms of you may have had a young person in there, a family member, you might have volunteered there in the past for whatever reason, done fundraising for them. It's safe to say, isn't it, there's going to be hundreds upon hundreds of people who have in some way been involved with Darien House over the years. If you're on social media, if you look up a Darien House story, okay, you'll find it there. They've got an email address, darienbook@gmail.com. But if you want us to repeat any of that information, you might be driving now or at work, just listening with half an ear, just ring us. Ring us and we'll put you in touch with Carrie Ann and her lovely mum Leslie as well. There's many stories and pictures and things that you can share over the years about Darien House to compile this book. And basically the aim of it, it says here, the aim of it is that you open the book at any page and it makes you smile. So very, very simple. Ring us here if you want any info. 0800 7833 583. You are listening to BBC Radio Lancashire. It's just gone 1:45.
BBC Radio Lancashire Travel.
So the M61 is partially blocked heading north. This is after the M6 at junction 30 because of an obstruction. In Abbey Village there are temporary lights on Bolton Road near Abbey Court because of works on telecom cables. Sandy Lane is closed from Windrow Drive to Hoyles Lane in Cottam. That's because of roadworks. And in Burnley there are temporary lights on Eastern Avenue at Torquay Avenue because of electricity work. And a reminder, bear this in mind if you're heading out in this direction, the M61 is partially blocked heading north after the M6 at junction 30. That is because of an obstruction.
BBC Radio Lancashire Sport. Inside Edge is our midweek magazine show covering grassroots and county cricket in Lancashire. We chat to guests from the local leagues, take stock of Lancashire's red ball and T20 action, and celebrate great efforts in our Performer of the Week slot.
I've got nearly 17,000 followers. We don't hate cricket, we love cricket, we love the day at the club. There's nothing better than a day at the club.
It's your window on the wicket, so join us every Wednesday evening from 6.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Lancashire.
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I turn it on. Off from my city, off from my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well, you already know. So just to let you, I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel the good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving, so keep dancing. I can't stop the feeling, so just dance, dance, dance.
Links afslaan naar Market Street. Dan rechts afslaan naar Castle Hill.
It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on.
naar Kessel Hill.